Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Does Metal Have Soul podcast. This week we are going to be looking at Anthrax, but also rap metal. So I was going to get to learn about rap metal today. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I am here with my quiche-covered partner.
Quiche are a Glaswegian band. They don't exist anymore.
Okay, right, fair play. Melisa Kelly, how's it going?
Yeah, good. I'm feeling fresh-faced and fancy-free. I did I did some exercise, despite the fact that I really didn't want to, and despite the fact that I still don't want to. I did it, and I feel better for it.
You have been killing it on the exercise front. Every single day. About 50 minutes of dance classes.
50 minutes of dance classes.
Because we built a nice home gym. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, someone said something to me and it really stuck with me, and it was the longer you stay on the wrong train, the more expensive the trip home is. And I can't get it out of my brain. And I just think it's people gain weight, lose weight, don't have health for all kinds of different reasons, and it's so tricky. And I think if you can find one thing that you can hold on to and it motivates you, even if that thing is bibbity bop bop boo, then fuck it, just run with it. Even if it's logically inconsistent, fucking run with it.
I love it and hate it at the same time. Like obviously, I have a complicated relationship with weight gain. And
Samesies.
A lot of that is genetic, but people love on YouTube. They love to, call you fat, don't they?
They do. I couldn't even get the sentence out. I've never experienced it before in my entire life.
Yeah, and it's just hard to explain to these people, like, without making any excuses. Like, I've been a Peloton member for a long time,
Yeah.
and I can sit and do an hour spin class and make it to the end of that. I can. I played tennis for a long time.
Yeah.
I boxed for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I did when my friend Luke was up. We went and played tennis together. And halfway through the session, he's like, "How are you still going?"
You do have very good cardiovascular.
My cardio is good.
But you're also a tall
really
person. You're a big person.
Yeah.
And not to do that. You've got big bones bullshit. But it is a little bit that.
It's big bones covered in meat and gravy. That's my.
His big bones covered in sausage and mash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those just, being motivated. And if you out there in YouTube land are currently in some kind of fitness thing or you're trying to do it, I'm with you, buddy. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's hard. We love and support you though. Stick at it. If we can stick at it, then you can stick at it.
If I can stick at it, anyone can stick at it. Jesus.
I guess I just have really strong legs as well because I got to carry my fat ass around everywhere.
That's a thing, I think.
Ridiculously toned legs.
I mean, I have no medical qualifications, but that's what I think it is.
Yeah, that's a thing. Right, so we're going to power through this one. You have some Metalhead Musings for us?
Yes. Okay. The first one is from, and I'm not even sure if this is how you intended your username to be, but it's Axiomatic Clarity.
Sounds about right, yeah. Maybe not axiomatic?
Axiomatic, yes.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely as he intended it then.
Oh, it is?
If I could assume that you'd mispronounced it, it must be as intended. But his name is important. What does he have to say?
Oh, what's that? You can read really well. Oh.
But no, I'm not reading. I can't see it.
Well, you're a psychic then. So Axiomatic Clarity says of Imperial Triumphant.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're always been nice. He or she has been nice. These are actually educated musicians, all three of them, and they mix genres decently. For something absolutely disgusting, and to some very beautifully so, you should try to listen to Portal. The reason that I was reading some of the Imperial Triumphant, because this was only 3 days ago,
right.
It's had an upswing. People have been watching it.
That happens.
And a lot of people have commented recently, just being like, I know you hated it, Melissa, but they really are educated musicians.
Doesn't matter.
Well, what I wanted to say to them, and I've said to a couple of them, I've been like, do you know what? Thank you for coming back because I know it's a band that you like and being really balanced with me. But genuinely, I don't dislike them based on education because the fact of the matter is, I'm not the kind of musician who will write notation when she's writing music.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, if you tell me they're educated, I couldn't give 2 fucks.
Yeah.
It's more that it's just not for me.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important that we shouldn't have that as the gold standard because, with respect, there's some people who are very educated at music theory whose original music is dog shit. Just saying, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've said it a million times, but when the music is good, no explanation is needed.
Yeah.
When the music is bad, no explanation will help. And I think that's very apt. And I've said it so many times, and some people, they want to fight you on it, and the reason they want to fight you is because they've studied really hard. So they take the position of, well, I know all of my music theory. I've studied so hard, and I can explain to you why you should like this music. And it's like, dude, if somebody doesn't like your music, you can't explain it into genius.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
it's
that's
a waste. It's like you don't understand music if you're trying to do that. If someone doesn't like your music or a band that you like, move on with your day.
Absolutely. It's also recently, and I was telling Levi about it, I got into a conversation on TikTok of all places, and I very, very, very strictly with myself, I don't get in arguments on TikTok with anyone, because you could be arguing with a 13-year-old and I'm not doing it. But it was a conversation about Kanye West and separating art from the artist, and people talking about, but he's incredibly successful, and it's like, I don't know, man. I think about musicians and I'm like, educated doesn't necessarily mean that I think I should appreciate it more, and successful doesn't mean I think it's good, you know?
Yeah.
And that was just some thoughts I had about it.
Yeah, no, I was kind of mulling that over while you were saying it, and like Kanye is a good example of, just because somebody is very successful, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're very smart, and just because someone is very, very smart, it doesn't necessarily mean that they should be successful.
Speaking of Quiche,
sometimes
Quiche were great. Sorry,
and Charlie Parker.
Quiche.
Sometimes being smart is understanding when you have to put that ego and snobbery aside and focus on playing something that just sounds good. Like, who cares about how fucking clever something is?
You don't need to tell me. I'm never trying to be fucking clever in my music. I'm just feeling the vibes.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes. I've got one, and it is Millicent Oak again.
Okay.
I know we had Millicent Oak on one of the first pods, but
right.
Millicent just you be putting up things here that are just true facts.
Good comments are good comments.
Absolutely. On our Iron Maiden pod,
Right.
Millicent said, only a couple of days ago, 4719, imagine being called, the band, Marseille, but you're from Liverpool and you don't, wait for it, it gets so good, and you don't quite make it, so you give up on the music business and you go on to make children's television classics like Art Attack and
Neil
Finders
Buchanan.
Keepers.
Yeah.
What the
That's
fuck
Neil-
is going on in this day?
Did you not know that? Neil
No!
Buchanan's a guitar player in
No,
Marseille?
I read it and I looked it up and I was like, "What's going on?" Okay, because we saw a YouTube video the other day.
You should
about Art
definitely
Attack.
know that, because we had a YouTube video on about Art Attack, and it mentioned that he was a guitar player in Marseille.
I don't remember that. I just remember that I loved Art Attack as a kid, and I just thought it was the greatest children's television program ever, and that blew my mind. The crossover though, musicians that don't make it and then they have to go and diversify. That's not how you say that. Diversify, and then they become, Neil Buchanan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got very overexcited about that one.
Any others?
No, that was it.
Okay,
I wanted to add one thing to, is it Neil Clark? Nope. Greg Clark that commented last time.
Yes.
And we answered his question and he came back. I saw that you were having a big old chat with him. I just wanted to say to Greg, thank you again for your comments, because they were so balanced and we had a wonderful conversation.
I was going to bring up that response actually when we started talking about Anthrax.
Well, I shut up then.
Yeah, it's definitely relevant. I had some interesting comments on YouTube this week.
Oh.
Very, very... Largely in response to the Giacomo Tura thing. And if nobody has seen it, I did put a transcription of a Giacomo Tura video up for that very purpose.
I'm going to put a wee snippet of it here.
And I put it up just so I could put a little poo over his head and animate it. And more specifically, the fart noise, because nothing makes Mel laugh more than a fart noise out of nowhere. So I did it to make Mel laugh. And
I am a child, I know.
Obviously doing things like that, making videos like that, like I make things like that because I'm trying to entertain people, but also I think the cause is just. Mm-hmm. I really do believe in the cause, and evidently so many other people also believe in said cause, because, well, it's gone viral, and it hasn't gone viral because it's trendy. It's because people see it and they're annoyed by it. They're like, oh, this is bad. What a shithead. We should talk about this. But people losing their mind over, ultimately, they see the Giacomo thing. They see me getting involved in it. And their hatred of me is so great.
That it trumps their hatred for Giacomo.
So they see Giacomo in hot water, and then it's like they try and use that as a reason to get me in hot water. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Because apparently all I do is the same thing as what Giacomo does. All I've ever done in my career is just steal other people's music. And and monetize it.
I could write a TED talk about how that's incorrect.
I know. I take great pride in like posting. I posted the analytics for the Guthrie Govan video that I have on my channel that just hit 1 million views, because 1 million views is a big number, and I wanted people to see how much money you make from a transcription video like that when it gets 1 million views, and I made $0.000.1. I made sure I didn't put an extra zero, because that's important. 0.01 and 0.001, they're huge differences. No money whatsoever, because when I make videos, they're claimed by the artists, right?
I can't even fathom that anyone would look at what you do and go, oh, that's just what Giacomo Turra has done. Never mind the fact that Giacomo Turra literally released music. Released music that he had stolen.
Yeah.
And
presented it as his own. And like what I do, I've never tried to pass someone else's thing off as my own. And there's a reason that I work with so many of the artists that I do transcriptions of on my YouTube channel, making them money, not just from YouTube ad revenue, but, you know, we put out products and things like that. But the reason I brought this up, and it feels relevant because it's like, what does it mean to be a modern musician? Like, ultimately, I knew who the guy was. After I read his comment, I was like, well, that's a fucking heated comment. And then I went to respond, and you know when you hit reply, it puts at and their name? Mm-hmm. And I saw his name, and I went, oh, fucking hell, I know who this is. And it's like...
was it Greg?
No, suddenly my tone had to change a little bit, because it's like, dude... This has been about 7 fucking years now that you've had a bee in your bonnet about me. You've been so angry about me being successful in music and you evidently not being successful in music that you'll throw everything out when somebody is doing something legitimately bad and use it as a way to come and get me. And his way to come and get me, and like, I'm dying at it. He's like, you only have 50 monthly listeners on Spotify, so you're not successful in music. And it's like, I'm sorry. When did I last release music? You're telling me that your way of ridiculing me is the person who doesn't release music and doesn't promote music doesn't have people listening to him on Spotify?
Duh!
What a strange way to measure if someone's good at what they do or not. Like, and it's emotion, isn't it? It's like people just get that hatred. It just fills you up. Like, go and do something. If you could bury your hatred of me and the things that I've done in the music industry, maybe you'd be more successful.
7 years.
Possibly longer.
Jesus.
Possibly longer.
It's just bananas to me, and it's also, we've got to stop, I think, and this is just my opinion, so who the fuck cares? And I say that all the time, because I really do mean that. If someone doesn't agree with me, or is like, why should I care what you think? When was the last time you sold out Wembley? Which I love that, because Wembley doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, that's totally fair. Go forth and do your own thing, but also, like, it's just we attach success with quality, and it's just like, yes, that is correct in a lot of instances, but there's plenty of people who are very successful at what they do outside of music and in music who are not good at what they do at all, and they've just either been great business people or they've had some really great teams around them. I just think it's bizarre that anyone could look at what Giacomo Turra did and go, I'm going to use this is my moment to fuck up Levi Clay. What?
Yeah.
What?
And for me, it's like there's this interesting discussion around the word successful. What does successful mean?
Because it means you can have a snack and a nap in the day.
Yeah, well, that's possibly the best way that anyone could put it, right? Because when people like that come at me, it never feels like, it feels petty to say, fuck off. You're just angry that I'm successful and you aren't, right? It feels really petty, even though it's accurate in this case. But they come back and try and say you're not successful. And it's like, well, what does successful mean? Like, I would consider myself successful in music. But to other people, they're like, well, you don't write and release music, so you're not successful in music. But it's like, if you own a record label and you're a multi-millionaire, like, are you not successful in music?
I would argue if you own a record label, you're more likely to not be successful. Like, I just think it's weird. It's open to interpretation, isn't it? There's plenty of people who... ask or have fights with me about whether or not I'm a success and whether or not that makes my opinion valid. And in each one of those cases, I'm like, well, listen, I'm not a success by most people's standard of what a musician should be.
Yeah.
But most people also pay $7.99 a month for their fucking music and they don't value it. So
I love that what you've said there. Sorry to interrupt. What you've said there feels like the sort of thing that you could put on a t-shirt, but you're actually incorrect because the majority of people that use Spotify are free members.
Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, success really should be, I'm deadly serious. I know I joked and I said a snack and a nap during the day, but success really should be your own measuring stick. I became a musician to be happy.
Yep.
I have succeeded. So as far as I'm concerned, that's successful. Does it make me happy in the long run that some of the things that I've created don't find a good audience? Of course it does. I'm not going to sit here and be disingenuous. But at the same time, I definitely feel more successful than someone who's on a YouTube channel for fucking 7 years trying to take someone down.
Yeah.
For why?
Yeah.
Go and have a snack and a nap.
Well, they can't because they have a day job. So for me, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I don't know if I can fully agree because if it's by your own measuring stick, you could say, well, I'm going to make an album and I'm going to release that album. And my goal is to have no more than 26 people listen to that album. And if I achieve that goal, then the album was successful. You've just moved the goalpost so dramatically. Yes, you've achieved the goal that you set out to do there. Mm-hmm. But you haven't been successful. You might have succeeded in your goal, but in the wider sense, that's not success because you can't, the way I like that you put it, you can't have a snack and a nap during the middle of the day. I mean, probably can because you might be unemployed, but
well, you know what it is.
I just don't think you can move goalposts like that.
Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But here's the thing: I am nothing if not intellectually honest until I'm not. So
yeah, okay.
I'm completely happy being like, today I am a success. Yeah. Whereas tomorrow I'll be like, well, it's my music's not doing this or I'm not doing that, or comparison is the death. Like you go on Instagram and see someone who is doing miles better than you and you go, fuck me, I'm never getting that. I'll just give up now.
I just think it's dangerous to move goalposts in that respect, and I kind of want everybody's comments in the comment section to get their opinion on what it means to be successful, because to me, I could look at someone like Ed Sheeran and say he's successful.
Yeah,
of course he's successful, but it would also be so easy to turn around and say, well, yeah, but he's not very good, and it's like, but you've just moved the goalposts there. We talk about success, and then when somebody is successful, you say, well, they don't deserve that success, or they're not very good, or I'm better at them, and you make it about yourself. I could look at Ed Sheeran and go, he's much more successful than I am, but I know so much more about music than he does. I should be as successful as him.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not how that works.
No, also, you just shouldn't do the comparison game. I think the comparison game is so insidiously toxic.
Yes.
Because you're not even aware that you're doing it sometimes.
Yeah.
And, I just think, you know what? I'm just a worm. Do you want to come in and meet the missus? Sorry, that was a labyrinth reference.
Okay, you want to talk about Anthrax?
Absolutely.
All
just quickly to circle back, are you going to talk about Greg in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Was there something you wanted to say about Greg?
I was just basically thanking him for it, but also just, you guys mentioned in comment section about how reaction channels, we talk about reaction channels and we talk about the people who watch reaction channels. I want to make this incredibly...
I was quite harsh in my comments about reaction channels, and Greg felt personally attacked by that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, from his... and that's not me asserting that. That's like he said that in his comment. And
obviously
it wasn't my intention to do that, but my thoughts on reaction channels are my thoughts on reaction channels, but I know you share most of those thoughts because you say them.
Well, I really enjoy that. There's plenty of reaction channels that I enjoy. There's a particular classical composer, and I'll put him on the screen now. He has a reaction channel, but also he did children's reactions at one point with puppets, and it was fucking glorious. And they got like 100 views each. It was so sad. But yeah.
So when he did actual art,
no one gave a fuck.
No because
they only just want to see you watch the thing that you like and tell you that they like it too, and blah blah blah. It is about connection. And I harp on about connection all the time. Humans at their base just want to connect with each other. Even when we're fighting, it's just because we want to connect with each other. And there's lots of reaction channels I enjoy. And when I talk about reaction channels and some of the numpties that watch reaction channels, I'm not in fact talking about the sweet, lovely people who watch my channel.
Yeah,
now, I know that sounds very imbalanced, like I'm just being, sycophantic. I'm not, because I call you guys cunts in the comments as well. But the fact is, like, I see people like, did I say it? Did I say it? I'm going to say it because the mafia will come and get me. When I watch stuff like The Charismatic Voice,
mm-hmm.
She is very talented vocalist. She's a classically trained vocalist. As a classical singer, as a popular singer, she's dreadful. But as a classical singer, she's wonderful. That she can sit there and just consistently be positive about everything is logically inconsistent.
Yeah. She understands how the business works. She understands what it is that you want to see. And I've tried the opposite, right? So I don't, from a copyright perspective, I don't value reaction content. I don't respect reaction content, and I tried to do.
Fuck myself.
If you think about it, we're kind of doing it on this podcast, right? We don't play the music on this podcast,
no,
because that would go against my views on how you should do that sort of thing.
Sure.
But because of that, like years ago, I used to do streams called listening parties, and for those listening parties, I would have Spotify on screen,
mm-hmm.
and you could see what I was listening to, and I would be talking about it whilst I was listening to it. But the stream couldn't hear the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that very specifically because I wanted thousands of people to watch the streams with me, and I wanted them to go to Spotify
to come along with you
and press play on the thing, so they would listen to the music with me. The artist would make money,
mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't be essentially making money from the artist's music, right? Yeah. But those streams weren't very popular. Why were they not very popular? Because people just want to hear the person's music in your video. They are, yeah, sure, they want to hear your opinions, but not as much as they want to hear the music. And the reason I know that to be true is because all your reaction stuff,
mm-hmm.
if you listened to the song before you filmed the video and then said, hey guys, this is Melisa Kelly, and today I want to talk to you about this Iron Maiden song that I listened to earlier today and tell you what I think about it. No one's going to watch it. No one watches it because the music is the value in them.
Maybe we should test the theory.
Test the theory, yeah.
Share tests the theory. Yeah, I think I listened to some of I read some of the comments and I was just like, you know what? I'm not that I'm walking back anything I said. I do think there's stuff on YouTube reaction-wise that is fucking drivel, and it's drivel by people who are just trying to get the click, don't care about anything else. And whilst I definitely want people to click on my videos and blah blah blah, I do think that I bring at least some kind of fun narration to what I do. Yeah. I'm not reinventing the fucking wheel.
No, of course not. But so Greg's point was that your intellectual input is of value and enjoyment to him, and of course it is. And I totally get that for that as a genre. But that's why I'll happily sit and listen to something like the Open Studio guys.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, the You'll Hear It podcast.
Yeah.
And they'll just sit and talk about an album.
Yeah.
And they don't need to play the music.
Yeah.
For me to listen to them talk about the album and have a really intellectual conversation about the album and the music.
Sure.
That I respect, but I can point you to 100 reactors on YouTube. In fact, let's use Jason Derulo as the
Jason Derulo, sorry.
Right, reaction cancer, because Jason Derulo literally just steals other people's shorts. It's all automated. He steals other people's short content and then he uploads them with him reacting in the bottom. But the problem with him reacting in the bottom is those are all pre-filmed green screen things of himself. Yeah. Pre-filmed green screen things of himself. So you will see short content which he gets hundreds of millions of views on, where it's just him like sitting and drinking a drink going at these videos, and it's like, bro, you've contributed nothing. You literally didn't watch the video. This has all just been put together so you can farm engagement and farm ad revenue. It's so unbelievably cancerous.
That's so dark. Just like pre-recording your reaction.
Yeah, and then using that same reaction on multiple videos.
This is what I'm talking about. This apocalyptic time that we're in, this is the most boring apocalypse. Seeing the infinite universes that go on and on forever, some people are having like comets, dinosaurs, aliens, the plague, and we're just here watching Jason Derulo not reacting in a reaction video.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So anyway, the thing I wanted to say to Greg is, well, it's more like talking about Anthrax. So Greg obviously had the issue with me not selling Metallica to you more.
Oh, okay.
You know, at his core, like, he really, really likes Metallica, and he felt that I should sell Metallica to you. And obviously, I think I said it in the last podcast, but I was able to do that to a degree because I was a Metallica fan, big Metallica fan, listened to a lot of Metallica when I was younger. But actually, generally speaking, that's not what this podcast is. This isn't let me show you a thing and try and convince you that you like it. And I know that if you're a fan of the band, you do kind of want to see that. But I don't know all things about all bands. I just happen to know a pretty decent amount about Metallica. But that I wasn't going to allow that to colour my approach to playing music by Metallica.
Yes.
And I'm going to use Anthrax as the example, right?
Yes.
I don't know anything about Anthrax, right? I'm trying to be equally fair with Anthrax as I was with Metallica.
Okay.
Trying to give you that same level of presentation.
Sure.
I don't feel it's my job to sell you Anthrax, and I'll tell you why I don't like Anthrax. Because I don't know Anthrax's music. It really is as simple as
That's
that.
fair.
I don't know Anthrax's music. When I was younger, got into Metallica when I was, after nu metal had been a thing. I didn't get into metal until like maybe 14, 15. Nu metal was a big thing. I went back and listened to Metallica. I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed Megadeth. I was aware of Anthrax, and I was aware of Anthrax because their cover of Bring the Noise was in one of the Tony Hawk's games.
How's it go?
Turn it up, Bring the Noise. We're going to listen to it today.
Okay. No, I want your impression of
I
it.
know. I see what you're doing. So I didn't like that. I wasn't into the kind of rap metal-y thing, despite really, really liking Limp Bizkit. But yeah, I didn't. For me, for the thrash thing, I just pinned them as, they're that thrash band that did rap metal things.
Sure.
And Scott Ian, their guitar player, very vocally, like very anti-guitar solo, even has a guitar made without frets after like the 12th fret or something like that. And again, my attitude to that as well, I just want to listen to music that has lots of solos in. So I didn't give Anthrax any time.
Okay.
Now, all of that is incorrect.
Sure.
There are guitar solos in Anthrax's music. They're very much a thrash band. They dabbled in some rap elements, but they're a thrash band, and there's a reason that they're one of the big four. But I'm not going to be able to sell you them in the same way that I could have tried to sell you Metallica. I'm going to give you the fair, equal thing. So, you want me to tell you about Anthrax?
Fucking do it.
Anthrax is an American thrash metal band formed in New York City in 1981 by rhythm guitarist Scott Ian and bassist Dan Zatlilka. This group is considered one of the leaders of the thrash metal scene from the 1980s as one of the big four. Of course, Metallica, Megadeth and Slayer. They were one of the first thrash metal bands, along with Overkill and Nuclear Assault, to emerge from the East Coast. After cycling through a number of members, Anthrax released their debut album, Fistful of Metal, in 1984 with singer Neil Turbin. Turby was replaced by Joey Belladonna later that year, stabilising the band's lineup. Anthrax's third album, Among the Living, from 1987, brought the band mainstream success for the first time and is recognised as one of the greatest thrash metal albums. The band's next two outings, State of Euphoria from 1988 and Persistence of Time from 1990, further cemented their reputation as one of the most successful thrash bands, with the latter giving Anthrax their first Grammy nomination. In 1992, Anthrax signed to Elektra Records for $10 million. Belladonna was replaced by John Bush of Armored Saint. Bush's first album with Anthrax, The Sound of White Noise from 1993, number 7 on the Billboard 200, spawned the radio hit Only. The band would part ways with Elektra following the release of Stomp 442, which we're not going to be able to listen to today. It's not on Spotify.
Ah.
Yeah, not on Spotify. Due to the lack of promotional support and Volume 8, The Threat Is Real suffered from the bankruptcy of their record label.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit more about detail and we'll listen to some music. So, formed in Queens, New York City.
New York!
In July 1981. Greatest city in the world.
It is.
It is. Love New York. By guitarist Scott Ian and Dan Lilka. There's definitely an L in there. With Dan's friend Dave Weiss on drums. So, the band was named after the disease of the same name, which Ian saw in a biology textbook, chosen because it sounded sufficiently evil. And that's a quote, sufficiently evil.
Just sufficiently.
Yeah, originally intended for Scott Satari to play bass in the band. Let's talk about Neil Turbin era and the debut album. So the band's first performance with Neil Turbin was at the Great Gildersleeves in a New York club, September 1982. The lineup played regularly in the New York and New Jersey area over the next several months, and Anthrax was also on the same bill as the then up-and-coming Metallica for several shows in the spring of 83. So, would you like to check out that album, Fistful of Metal?
Absolutely.
So I do have a little playlist for you. So Fistful of Metal from, Deathrider from Fistful of Metal.
Deathrider.
And we're looking at them from the perspective of thrash, and to help you really kind of drill down on what thrash is and how you think of this compared to Slayer and
Okay.
Metallica.
Sure.
Sorry, what was the high note in that? Yeah, that's the one. What do you think?
That was fucking transcendent.
You liked that?
I really liked that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. Joey Belladonna is
That's
the
not
singer?
Joey Belladonna.
Who's
that's
that then?
Neil Turbin.
Neil Turbin. Well done, sir. I don't know who kicked you in the balls, but that was fabulous. Yeah, I enjoyed that. And it felt very warm. The bass felt very like rich.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was like that,
Which when you put it like that, when you vocalise it like that, sounds like Motorhead.
it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like Motorhead, because if it sounded like Motorhead, I would have had a full physical reaction and needed to leave the room. No, that I really enjoyed that. It was the production of it was pretty cool. I realised that they're not in a space where production is really high quality at this point yet. But the Neil Turbin sounds great. I really enjoyed the tone of the bass. I thought the guitar was okay. I'm never even zoning in on the guitar a lot of the time. Drums felt great though.
Yeah, like I think you can really hear the progression from the new wave of British heavy metal, the Maidens and
Judas
the
Priest.
Priest, yeah.
Ha ha! Sorry.
The good old Nwobum.
Knob 'em.
But yeah, no, that was I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I did. And to say I'm surprised by that feels silly, because obviously they're one of the big four, so
Yeah.
they should be thrash bands, not rap metal bands.
Yeah.
And I've done myself a disservice.
Whenever you say rap metal, all I can hear in my head is doodle doo doodle doo doo. Run DMC and Aerosmith doing that fucking garbage, whatever it was.
That's rap rock.
Walk This Way. That's what it
Also,
was.
good one. Yeah, okay. So that was Deathrider, and that was that's the last time that Neil Turbin's in the band. So from there, Joey Belladonna joined the band.
On the right?
On the right, yes. Yes, he's very orange.
I was going to say.
Anthrax's second album, Spreading the Disease, was released in October 1985. It was well received as both a technical leap forward from Fistful of Metal and as a more original effort. It remains one of the band's most highly regarded albums. With leftover studio time from these sessions, Ian Benati and former bandmate Dan Lilker collaborated with vocalist Billy Milano to form the side project Stormtroopers of Death. Yeah, I didn't know where Stormtroopers
Holy
of Death came from.
shit.
What?
They recorded an album
Yes?
called Speak English or Die. What an incredibly xenophobic title for your album. Speak English or Die. Jesus.
Yeah, Speak English or Die in 3 days. Would you like to see the album artwork for that?
Okay, I think I was correct in my estimation.
Would you like to hear some Stormtroopers of Death? I guess it makes sense. You wanna?
Do we have the time?
Yes.
Because we've got to keep this snappy.
We are powering through.
I should fucking well think so.
So, March of the Stormtroopers of Death.
Oh, Jesus.
There we go.
Okay.
Nice fucking accent. Why can't you speak like me?
Okay, we're backing away. We're backing away from fucking Stormtroopers of Death.
I need to bring Spotify back. Why?
It's not okay to be a xenophobe. Unless when you say xenophobe, what you actually mean is you're afraid of xenomorphs. Then I'm totally with you.
Yes. So, US tour to support Spreading the Disease opening for Black Sabbath was cancelled after 4 dates due to Sabbath singer Glenn Hughes' voice problems. So there's a point where Glenn Hughes is singing it.
Glenn Hughes for Black Sabbath?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Fuck a luck a ding dong.
Yeah. In '86, Anthrax attempted its first tour of Europe, beginning in Bochum, Germany, supported by Overkill and Agent Steel. Tour included a show near Chernobyl, immediately after the Chernobyl disaster.
Oofed.
Later that year, Anthrax toured Europe with Metallica. So, would you like to listen to a track off of that album? This is, like I say, first album of Joey Belladonna. I picked Spreading the Disease, and I picked Spreading the Disease because I think, actually, if memory serves me right, this isn't the most listened to track on the album. There's another album later on where I didn't pick the most listened to track. I picked the only track on the album that had a music video.
Oh, okay.
So in this case, we're going to listen to Madhouse.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I think Joey Belladonna's voice is lovely. really good. I enjoyed the harmonies on his voice. I think the guitar sounded good, and I enjoyed the choices that were made for the ba 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 ba. That bit, I think was cool. I love the Foley at the beginning. Yes. I love a little...
The scenelet.
The scenelet. I love a scenelet. Yeah, it was great. It wasn't as good as Deathrider.
Yeah, he didn't. I also don't like his voice as much as...
No, Neil Turbin really fucking knocked out the park. It's kind of a high bar to set, and then, you know...
I couldn't help but make the comparison to Megadeth. I think a lot of that. I couldn't help but listen to it and think to myself, would I prefer this if Dave Mustaine was singing? And the answer would probably be yes. Even though Dave isn't the best singer.
I was literally about to say, are you on drugs? Dave Mustaine.
It's all about sound, isn't it? It's all about tone. You don't have to be a technically better singer, but Dave...
I wouldn't say he has a better
instantly
tone
recognisable.
So's fucking what's
Ozzy
himself
Osbourne.
from the Pogues. Fuck me.
Yeah, but that means that he's the right singer for the Pogues because he's instantly recognisable. Kind of want that in a band, right?
Sure.
Yeah, because when you think of we did Malmsteen's music,
Yeah.
and a lot of his singers, they're all just great generic high male vocal metal singers. Yeah.
Sure.
So I think having a unique sounding singer really helps you to stand out from the pack.
Fair.
As much as you hated James Hetfield,
Oh God.
he's the right singer for the. He's just the right singer for the thrash thing.
I didn't hate him. Hate him's a strong word. It just very much annoyed me / made me laugh when it just seemed like he was like.
Yep, that's the one. Okay, so
Also, Martin, don't you fucking clip that. Martin being a cheeky arsehole that he is. I love you, but stop that.
the band's third studio album, Among the Living, was released in March '87 and is often considered by both the band and critics to be a major breakthrough for Anthrax. Produced by Eddie Kramer, it showcased the band's humorous and experimental side, began a lyrical trend focusing on movies, politics, comic books, and Stephen King novels.
I love Stephen King.
The album was dedicated to Cliff Burton's memory. Who's that?
Who the fuck Cliff Burton is?
Mel doesn't care when bass players from Metallica die. She just
Oh,
don't know who the fuck that is.
I'm so sorry, Cliff. I know that you're up there somewhere, up there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I completely forgot who he was. Not out of disrespect. I didn't deliberately in my brain go, I'm gonna forget your name, dead man. I just, you know what I mean? I just forgot. I don't remember what I had for dinner yesterday.
Sure. Propelled by the singles Indians and I Am the Law. I was going to play I Am the Law, but you'll see why I didn't in a second.
Judge Dredd. I just keep thinking Judge Dredd in my
The
brain.
success of Among the Living not only turned Anthrax into a household name, along with the remaining big four of thrash metal, Metallica, Megadeth and Slayer, but eventually earned them one of their first certified gold records. I Am the Law, which was released as the album's second single, was backed with a rap metal hybrid, I'm the Man, as its B-side. We're going to listen to I'm the Man.
Okay.
Anthrax further indulged its appreciation for rap by appearing on the title track of UTFO's album Lethal, and their worship of the genre was also attributed to Ian wearing a t-shirt of Public Enemy, both on stage for publicity photo shoots. In response, Public Enemy name-checked Anthrax in the lyrics to their 1988 single "Bring the Noise." Anthrax.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I had one Public Enemy album growing up, and I think I listened to it quite a lot. It was definitely not age appropriate, and I definitely didn't understand most of what was being said.
Sure.
I just remember that it was like, you know how that little scenelet that they did at the start of that Madhouse song we just did? There was a lot of that in that album of Public Enemy, and I just remember thinking, so wait a minute, you can do music, but it can also be an expression of a whole bunch of other stuff too, including scenelets. I was blown away.
So just so you're aware, I Am the Law is a song about the 2000 AD character Judge Dredd.
It is!
And includes references to many of the characters and storylines up until 1987. Now, I know you think that's cool, but what I learned about Mel in the last week is that Mel thinks Judge Dredd is really cool, but Mel thinks Judge Dredd is really cool because of the Sylvester Stallone film.
Okay, like, you need to understand, Demolition Man... I was, again, a strange child. I think when I was about 11, I watched Demolition Man like every day for probably about 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
So when I found Judge Dredd, I was like, oh, it's just it's not. It's nowhere even near as good as Demolition Man.
No, it's not.
But I really did love that era of
Sure.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I did think, okay, I'm sorry. I thought Judge Dredd was great, okay?
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I think maybe during the week we could watch the Carl. I was going to say Keith Urban. Keith Urban wasn't Judge Dredd. Carl Urban.
That's a strange crossover.
Carl Urban.
Urban, the new one.
Yeah, Dredd. Well, not new. It's pretty old now, but just so you could see the.
Oh, is it good though?
It's very good. It's much better than the Stallone film.
I don't know about that.
The Stallone film is not really representative of Judge Dredd, the character. So,
Be well. Sorry,
that's demolition. And you just know that if a band are going to write a song about Judge Dredd, they would also take the opinion that film was dog shit because fans of actual Judge Dredd.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, so we're going to play Caught in a Mosh from Among the Living first. Then we're going to check out some of the rap thing and do a little bit of detour into the rap metal thing.
Okay. Caught in a Mosh.
Caught in a Mosh.
That's hard to say.
From Among the Living. That'll do.
I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
I think the drums sounded great.
Good drums do sound great. I think the overall production is really, really good.
I think that Joey Belladonna at points, to me, sounded like early, or at least the imprint, proto of Beastie Boys.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I'm just making that connection because we talked about rap, metal, and blah, blah, blah. But it does a tiny bit.
They're about to come up.
They are?
Yeah.
Fucking knew it.
But, so, yeah.
Fucking love the Beastie Boys.
His vocal, I just don't like his vocals. So I actually wouldn't have gone. Yeah, I think Neil Turbin was a great singer.
Okay, Neil Turbin was 100% better.
I would rather listen. So, yeah, if I had tried to get into this music when I was younger, he sounds like to me, like a snotty-nosed teen.
What, Joey Belladonna? Oh.
Yeah, I detect like a sarcastic, comedic element to a lot of the delivery in his lines.
Wow.
Like it's a very punk attitude.
Oh, yeah, okay. I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. His vocals never sound powerful.
No. But, it's
just not for me.
I think the issue...
Which is a shame because, like I said, I do think the production's very good.
It's kind of like listening to Donny Hathaway's vocals and then 2 seconds later being like, but we'll listen to some of this Taylor Swift. I'm sure it will be the same thing. It's just like, I don't think the two are compatible because I feel like Neil Turbin was doing something that a vocalist would do.
Yes.
And Joey Belladonna is doing something a performer would do.
But I would say that Neil Turbin, his ability with his instrument felt in line with the group that he was playing with.
Fair.
But Joey Belladonna doesn't feel like he's on the same level as the other musicians that he's playing with.
I'm afraid I have to maybe agree.
Yeah. Anyway, so now I also want to play from the B-side from the I Am the Law.
I am the law.
We're going to play I'm the Man. Title track is a comedy novelty song that parodies the style of the Beastie Boys. And its main guitar riff is based on the melody of the Jewish folk song
Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila.
Guitarist Scott Ian and Dan Spitz, as well as members of the Beastie Boys, are Jewish. According to Charlie Benatti, the song was meant to have a Beastie Boys as the MC on the song, but scheduling conflicts prevented it, so the band performed the vocals themselves. For live performances, Joey Belladonna and Benatti would switch places. Let's have a listen to it, see if you can see the kind of early rap metal thing happening.
Sure.
Before you say anything, I loved watching your face.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. You looked really on edge during all of that. What do you think?
That was a sensory fucking nightmare. A sensory nightmare.
Yeah.
I love the Beastie Boys, although to be fair, there is stuff of Beastie Boys I don't enjoy. I did not enjoy that.
No, me neither.
It was too much.
Mm-hmm.
It was too much of everything. It was too much. My whole brain was going, it was the dead stops.
Yep.
But the dead stops seemed to come out of nowhere.
Yep.
And then if you're going to dead stop for a joke, that joke better make me piss my pants. Because if you dead stop out of rhythm for a shit joke that not even your dad would tell, oh, Susan.
What I will say is, like, as I've got older, I've always known that I've had an appreciation for history, like the history of, my instrument that I play, the history of the music that I enjoy, but just in general, history. You see me consume a lot of history content, right? History is interesting from so many facets. You can look at history as interesting for so many facets. You've learned a lot about thrash metal. Can you remember where Slayer were from?
Easterhouse.
Yeah, okay. And Metallica?
California?
Yeah. Megadeth? We have not done them yet, but
Hell.
they're all Californian bands, right?
Oh, okay.
So they're all out on the West Coast, and as it was
Are you
talked
asking me
about,
details?
as it was talked about, Anthrax were the first East Coast band.
Oh, yes.
So, and we know that Scott Ian, the guitarist, was a big fan of hip hop.
Yes.
And we know that because he would wear, Public Enemy t-shirts, etc. But actually, when you think about it, his dog's just died in the background. Actually, when you think about it,
Yeah.
does that makes sense,
Yes.
right? Young men living in New York, in and around New York.
It makes total sense.
They will have been so exposed to that music.
Yeah.
And whether or not I like the outcome of them bringing some of that influence into their music is less interesting to me than the concept of that fusion.
Yeah.
I respect the fusion, even if I don't like the outcome.
It's also because they were both, and again, that's I don't know the intricate history of metal and all the rest of it, but and correct me if you think I'm wrong, they both would have been part of counterculture, Public Enemy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for them to connect over that makes total sense, because I imagine, we know that the people from Public Enemy came from impoverished areas, from a poor background of no education, all the rest of it. Anthrax maybe were the same, and that would have been another reason for them to connect with the counterculture thing.
I would have loved to have been able to witness and be part of that culture, because I don't know about you. You were spent more of your youth running away from people for being a gypsy, right? But me, when I think of my youth, the people that were into hip hop and the people that were into metal hated each other. Well, actually, the people that were into hip hop wanted to bully the moshers, as we get called, or the Geebz. Whereas in actual fact, like, we're both supposed to be counterculture. We're not enemies with each other. We're both, young people want to live our lives, get out from the shadow of your parents, get out from the foot of the government. There's so much in common, but it moved towards being a fight. Whereas I think the point that you were making is Anthrax and the hip hop scene in New York at the time were probably more coexistent.
Oh yeah, they must have been, and it's weird because like I don't remember a lot growing up of most things, but as far as the music or the high school, because I went to high school in England and Scotland. I would say in Scotland for sure, hip hop was definitely something that was consumed by poorer kids. There was definitely a class related reason for why some of the kids enjoyed it. And as far as metal is concerned, particularly because of the outfits and things, it was middle class kids that enjoyed metal, because a lot of the poor kids, no, for realsies though, y'all need to, if you live in Scotland, you need to reconcile with that if you were, because a lot of the middle class kids could afford the big ass boots and to go to the Cat House and to hang out at Four Corners in Glasgow. Poor kids couldn't afford to do that shit. You know why? Because they were in the fucking scheme in like Easterhouse and Brigton. They couldn't afford to do that shit.
Yeah.
But I never in England I didn't necessarily notice that kind of stuff. But yeah, you would think they would be super connected to each other. Like, we both enjoy music. It's counterculture.
Yeah. Okay, so little detour into rap metal, right? So rap metal is a fusion genre that combines hip hop with heavy metal. Usually consists of heavy metal guitar, riffs, funk metal elements, rapped vocals, and sometimes turntables. Rap metal's roots are based in both hip-hop acts who sampled heavy metal music, such as Beastie Boys, MC Strecker, Cypress Hill, Esham, and Run DMC.
I love Cypress Hill.
Okay.
I did listen to some Run DMC. I really enjoyed Beastie Boys, so I'm like, yes.
And rock bands who fused heavy metal and hip-hop influences, such as 24/7 Spies and Faith No More. And then Scott Ian of Anthrax, who helped pioneer the genre, believes that Rage Against the Machine invented the genre.
There you go.
In 1987, the heavy metal band Anthrax fused hip-hop with heavy metal for their extended play I'm the Man, which we listened to some of that.
Not for me.
There. The next year, rapper Sir Mix-a-Lot teamed up with Metal Church for his 1988 single Iron Man from the debut album Swass, loosely based upon the Black Sabbath song of the same name. Rap metal can be found in a track from the industrial metal band Ministry in their 1989 album The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, on the track Test, for which they hired rappers The Grand Wizard and Slogan God to perform vocals. In 1990, and this is fun, the rapper Ice-T formed a heavy metal band called Body Count.
I feel like I should have known that.
Yeah. We're going to listen to some Body Count shortly, because I didn't know this either. While performing at the 1991 Lollapalooza tour, let's try that again. Lollapalooza tour performed a set that was half rap songs and half metal songs. Stuck Mojo and Clawfinger both formed in 1989 and considered to be these bands you know.
Float over Stuck Mojo. A fucking flag has just went up really hard.
Yeah?
I don't know why.
Are you thinking of Watch Mojo?
No, I'm definitely thinking of Stuck Mojo. Something in my brain. My brain has just been...
Well, you'll have to let us know what that was.
Yeah,
in the next
I don't know.
episode.
Keep going.
Considered to be another two pioneers of the genre, Anthrax's 1991 team up with Public Enemy for the remake of the latter's Bring the Noise that fused hip-hop with thrash metal, and in 1991 the thrash metal band Tourniquet featured a hip-hop group PID on their song Spineless from their album Psychosurgery. Now, we'll revisit the rap metal thing. Obviously, its rise in popularity in the 90s and 2000s is quite important, quite influential, because you had acts like Kid Rock bringing himself over into the rock and metal world. Of course, huge bands like Linkin Park featuring rap and Limp Bizkit.
Yes.
It was a big part of the new metal scene. So,
I just saw Stained. It's been a while.
I just saw Christina Aguilera.
Where? Oh,
Did you know she had a rap metal band?
what? Shut up.
No. She did not, in fact, have a rap metal
Fuck's
band.
sake.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to me? Fucking love that stupid fucking whore.
So we're going to do a little bit of a detour. This is for my entertainment as well as yours. We are going to listen to Body Counts in the House by Body Count. This is
Ice-T's metal band.
Ice-T's metal band.
What the fuck is going
I
on?
know. I tried to find something better by them, but I couldn't. There was...
I tried so hard to like that, but I really didn't.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Just didn't.
Neither did I. The one aspect I did like is the police sirens, the gunshots, the screeching tyres. I thought that initially it's like you painted a scene look for me, but when the band kicked in, I actually thought that chaos in the background of the drums and the metal guitar was actually quite cool. But yeah, you have to do something with it, not just repeat the word body count over and over. Well,
yeah, he kept repeating it, and it reminded me of one time I got a subliminal tape thing for a meditation, and I had to throw it through a window one day because it was just driving me up the wall. It's a long story, I'll tell you another time, but it reminded me of that, and it was just like, especially because there felt like a recording.
Was it like Stanley Ipkiss? Did you throw it out the window and then it came back? It was just on the couch.
Don't you talk about my favourite movie in the whole wide world. No, it felt like there was a recording disparity between Ice-T's vocals, maybe because they were dry as a rich tea biscuit, and the band.
Okay.
It just, his body count felt like on tape by Audible. Whereas, you know what I mean? It was that very dry, round and warm vocal over just a different production.
So what we're going to do now, slight detour,
Side quest.
Staying on the side quest, we're going to listen to Public Enemy's version of Bring the Noise, which name checks Anthrax.
Nice.
So this is Bring the Noise by Public Enemy. This is just hip hop.
Too black, too strong.
But you get the general vibe, right?
Yeah.
With 20 years of experience in music, I have to say, actually, like growing up, I listened to a lot of rap music as well. I have to say that from a songwriting perspective, this is so much more interesting to me than just about anything Metallica ever did.
Preach. But
because that's politics.
Well, it's politics. It's a lot of things.
It's poetry.
It's cultural identity. Yeah. It's the way that cultural identity has evolved through, forgetting any, early part of the 1900s. You're talking about just what happened within the 70s and 80s to black people in America. It is fascinating, and it's not even just that. It's just the choices that they made within their instrumentation. I mean, it's fascinating listening to that now because we've got 40 years of hip hop in front of it, and I heard within the first verse and chorus 4 different things that have been sampled on other hip hop tracks.
Yeah, massively influential.
Yeah. Everything from having that dun dun ka dun 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 ka on the drums that's like drums that have so much reverb on them. It's like they've been recorded in a fucking giant warehouse.
Yeah. Now when if I sit and read some of the lyrics, right? Listen for lessons I'm saying inside music that critics are blasting me for. They'll never care for the brothers and the sisters. Mo, because the country has up for the war. We've got to demonstrate. Come on now. They're going to have to wait till we get it right. Radio stations, I question their blackness. They call themselves black, but let's see if they'll play this. Like, that's...
Oh, girl!
So much more. I feel like so much more has gone into that than writing a song about Judge Dredd. And to me, that's more. That's just so much more interesting.
It is more interesting from a human experience kind of way, although I wouldn't discredit art that was created to, tell the story of, being a dragon slayer.
No, like my favourite metal band is Symphony X, and they sing about, fantasy stuff. Like, so it's not that I'm against that. It's just that as I've got older, we haven't on the podcast, but these guys probably know. Like, I'm a really big Corey Henry fan.
Fucking love Corey Henry.
And I was so into his album that he put out called Something to Say.
Yeah.
Because he had something to say on it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just interested in listening to people's perspectives and worldviews. I find that more so now than the music itself.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me to listen to what people have to say. And we play, like, there's a song on that album called No Guns. We've not played it in a while, but we play that song live. And there's, like, the lyric, still, I ain't standing for no one's anthem lest that song makes me feel like dancing, is a great lyric.
I've got no guns to stick by.
Yeah.
I've got no guns to stick by. It's just a fucking fabulous lyric on its own.
So anyway, that was Bring the Noise by Public Enemy. Now we're going to listen to Bring the Noise, Anthrax
with
and Public Enemy. Interestingly, I think it might be better.
What?
Yeah. Ready?
Sure. I do think it's good. I don't think it's as good as the original. But then I really enjoy those big ass, the drum that it dropped out to those other drums, and the wonderful sort of reverby drums that are in
For me,
hip-hop
it's just
music.
that it's a bit faster. When I listen to the original there, it feels slow.
Sure, okay. That's fair.
But yeah, young Levi didn't want to listen to this. Well, young Levi wasn't interested in this.
Young Levi was an arsehole.
That's true. No, that's true. Old Levi's an arsehole. What are you talking about? Nothing's changed.
You grumpy old bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of the detour off into the rap metal thing. We'll leave the side quest and we'll go back to Anthrax pure now. But yeah, I feel bad for it, for not being interested in it because of that. No, music is incredibly vast, and it's impossible, just impossible to know everything about every band. It's impossible to be a fan of every band and to have listened to every album that they've put out and really got into because I hyper focus on a band when I get into them, and I'll know everything about them.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with everyone.
Well, no, because, I grew up and despite the fact that, I probably would have had good grounds to start listening to metal music from some of the things that I listened to as a child, especially because my father was obsessed with fucking AC/DC and he played it at me consistently. But I never did. I never even when my brother was listening to fucking Angry Malmsteen,
but even
I
in
was
the
like,
genres
this
that
is shit.
even in the genres that you're interested in, it's impossible. You don't know everything about soul music.
No,
You
God,
don't know.
no.
I can, even great soul artists, I can pull out recordings of them that you've never heard them do because it's just not possible. And what that means is that some bands are going to be a casualty of that. And for me, Anthrax were just a casualty of that. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing other band names on there like Suicidal Tendencies, King's X. I can honestly say I've probably heard one song from each of those guys.
Living Colour.
Whereas Living Colour we've seen live.
I've also seen live twice, excuse me.
Okay. Yeah.
Cult of Personality. I'm sorry, because that's just from wrestling.
You do look like you're dressed like CM Punk today.
Do I?
Yeah, he always wears a white shirt like that.
Fucking surly old demon that he is.
Anyway, so Anthrax released their fourth album, State of Euphoria, in September 1988, produced by Mark Dodson, previously worked with Judas Priest, UDO, and Metal Church. Album was not quite as well received as Among the Living, owing to its rushed finish. State of Euphoria was certified gold about 5 months after its release, and one of the singles, Antisocial, which we're going to be listening to, originally by French heavy metal band Trust, became an MTV staple as part of the rotation of Headbangers Ball. So, shall we give Antisocial a listen?
I don't know what in the fucking Kings of Leon that intro was, but everything else about that was pretty fun. Not like the best thing I've ever heard.
Fun is probably a really good way to describe
it.
It
Felt fun.
Not serious.
No.
Vapid.
Yes.
Give me Public Enemy.
Yes. It did feel a bit as well, a bit like Offspring. I know the
Yeah.
Offspring actually technically feel like you know what I mean. But yeah, there was nothing I
Maybe
didn't
not. Keep talking.
intensely like about that. But that also means that I'm not like crazy into it. You know what I mean?
No, Offspring are 84 and this album's 86. So
Yeah.
So-
That intro, get directly in the bin or up your own ass. No, thank you.
yeah, just not into the vocals, but I thought the production was really good when the guitars kicked in and it
Yeah.
went to that all these rhythms and chord types and just overall production that to me quintessential thrash.
Sure.
And I really do think this. I think that a year from now we could do a live stream, and I've actually thought about this, live stream where I have a playlist of bands,
Right.
of songs, and we just listen to 10 seconds
Yeah.
of the band,
Yeah.
and you say what it is, what genre it is.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think thrash, you can spot it now like that. It's got a sound, right?
Yeah.
New wave of British heavy metal,
No album.
no album,
Yeah.
black metal.
I could probably even guess who the band is. Excuse me.
Not if I play bands. Not if I give you Suicidal Tendencies.
No, because I've never heard them before. I mean, of the things I've heard.
Sure. Right, so Anthrax returned to the studio at the end of 1989 to work on their fifth album, again with Dodson as the producer, released in April 1990. It says August, not April. Persistence of Time was written and recorded during a period of turmoil for Anthrax, as Ian had recently been divorced from his first wife, and the middle of the recording session was interrupted by a fire that caused the band to lose more than $100,000 worth of gear and their rehearsal studio.
Damn.
Band members also claimed that it was during this period that there were talks of potentially working with a different singer, a situation that Belladonna was unaware of at the time.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Considered by the bands to be their serious effort, Persistence of Time was darker, more technical, and more progressive than the band's previous work, striking a chord with metal fans wary of Anthrax's silly side. See, just from the few things that we've listened to,
Yes.
I had said comical and fun, and silly is probably another word I would use to describe it. It's stuff that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yes.
So it's almost like it placates me to read that fans considered Anthrax to be quite silly.
Sure. I mean, I still think that artists who don't take themselves deadly seriously are the one. I think artists who fully are like sniffing their own farts are not for me, but
Sure. The most successful single from the album was a cover of Joe Jackson's Got the Time, which again is the song that we're listening to, which puts us in a weird position because like Greg is going to comment and be like, but you're not playing any of the band's songs.
No, we won't.
Because the Antisocial was a cover. Yeah?
Sure.
Got the Time is a cover.
Sure. Bring the noises.
Bring the Noise as a cover. And it's like, am I giving a fair shake of the stick to the band?
Here's the tea. Even if we had 4 hours, we probably wouldn't be given any band the right amount of listening time and space. Like if someone said to me, Melissa, I want you to give an impartial, unbiased, full education of Tom Waits to this one person, I'd be like, okay, well that's a 35-week engagement. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's any of those things. I'm sure Greg is not going to do that.
No.
And even if he did, he can.
But it would be a fair
appreciate-
comment. It would be a fair...
Absolutely. But also, all you bitches keep complaining about how long this motherfucking podcast is. So you can't have your cake and eat it, Barbara. There's only so much time. Is Brover dying?
He's fine,
No,
he's fine.
There's only so much time in the day. And yeah, it's really hard. With some of these bands, some of their history is fucking 40 years.
Yeah. And reality is we just haven't got the time. So let's listen to Got the Time. Oh, no, actually.
Let's waste time. And
How
talk
does
about,
Got the Time go?
Oh, I've got the time. Oh, I've got the time for you. Oh, I've got the time for making love. Woo!
Fantastic. Fantastic. I must say that in future,
Yeah.
if we do this podcast long enough...
I'm embarrassed by myself.
No, you misunderstand. The law of infinity would suggest that if we do this podcast for long enough, you'll eventually do that one day and you'll be exactly right. And I was going to say something like, and in that moment, I'll do something ridiculous, like shave my head or, get fake boobs put in. But I've already lost the bet to myself in the last week and I have to get a Joe Hendry tattoo. So
say his name and he appears.
Ready?
It was so funny. Okay.
Yeah, no, you tell your story. Go on.
I know, I'll tell it super. I'll shorthand it. Basically, we were watching WrestleMania, and it was the moment where Randy Orton basically said to I open an invite to anyone to come and challenge me, and I was like, how good would it be if it was Joe Hendry? And you were like, it's not going to be Joe Hendry. Shut up about it.
But from the perspective of like, I'm not that lucky.
Well, also
that would be my number one pick.
And then Levi said, if Joe Hendry comes out, I will get I believe tattooed on my foot. And then we sat there and the doors just came in and then all he heard was, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
I will point out that you're now a mega fan and I really appreciate that. But for the last however long, Mel hasn't believed. Mel has been I'm
a non-believer.
A non-believer, yeah.
Yeah, Barbara, because I just don't believe in things just because people tell me I should. If I have anything, if you tell me I should do something, I won't do it for years.
Right. Got the time.
Yes.
How's it go? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, like fun, very. I think I see what you mean now about Joey Belladonna's vocals in that one. Not in anything else, but in that one it felt juvenile, for want of a better word. I really didn't enjoy the tone of the bass when it first started. I was like, that sounds like a fart.
You were also wildly wrong about the vocal melody in the chorus.
Listen, I can't be right all of the time. Yeah, but it was fun, and I think that's something that, again, that might have been, because I've only done Anthrax on the channel once, that might have been my comments when I did it, was that there seemed to be joy within the music, and you'll get me faster than anything else if your music is clear that you are having fun. And they're clearly having fun. It's not pushing anything wild for me.
No.
But it was still a fun listen.
It's like, to me, I would say it's good thrash music.
Yes.
The music itself is really good, but the tone of the emotional tone,
yes,
is that party playful thing, and I'm just not into it. It's just
That's fair.
So yeah, in 1991, Anthrax collaborated with Public Enemy on their version of Bring the Noise. This was a huge hit. A successful tour with Public Enemy followed. Bring the Noise has been a live staple for Anthrax since they first played it in concert in 1989. The compilation Attack of the Killer Bees, released in 1991, features 3 tracks from their 1989 EP Penny Fukasign? Pennicafusin? You have a go.
Pennicafusin.
Pennicafusin? A new version of I'm the Man and a cover of Bring the Noise, on which Ian did some vocals. So we've only got one more track to listen to.
Okay.
The John Bush era. In early 1992, shortly after signing a $10 million deal with Elektra Records, and following their appearance in Married with Children, Belladonna was fired from Anthrax over creative and stylistic differences. After firing Belladonna, the remaining members of Anthrax auditioned several vocalists, including Mark Osigueda, of Death Angel, and Spike Xavier, Mind Over 4. However, Armored Saint vocalist John Bush was the standout favourite and had been floated as a potential replacement for Belladonna a few years earlier due to questions about his reliability stemming from drug and alcohol abuse. The band's first album with Bush, and for Elektra, Sound of White Noise, yes, is what we're listening to, was released in 1993. Produced by Dave Jerden, known then for his work with Jane's Addiction and Alice in Chains. The album marked a change from Anthrax's earlier work with a dark sound influenced by alternative rock.
Okay.
So the Metallica, the Load Reload thing. And it received mostly positive reviews. Critic Dave Conley of AllMusic wrote that Bush has a lower register voice than Belladonna, and as a result is menacing, premeditated and sinister.
Premeditated? What a wonderful, strange way to put it.
The song Only, which is what we're going to be listening to, was released as the album's first single. In the liner notes for Return of the Killer A's, Ian said that James Hetfield told me that it was a perfect song. In keeping with the band's eye for unlikely collaborations, classical composer Angelo Bumblefuck provided music.
Badalamenti.
Badalamenti.
The war that's going on today with you and second names is fabulous.
Yeah. Provided music for Black Lodge. a nod to Twin Peaks. Album demonstrated that Anthrax had fully shed its cartoonish persona in favour of a more mature, thoughtful songwriting, which began with persistence of time. The success of The Sound of White Noise dissolved any fan worries that the band would not recover from their split with Belladonna, certified gold nearly 2 months after release, and gave Anthrax their highest chart position to date at the number 7 on the Billboard 200. The album also saw Anthrax contributing to headline arenas and theatres or amphitheatres, taking several bands such as Suicidal Tendencies, White Zombie, Quicksand, Fight and Clawfinger out as supporting acts.
Okay.
Yeah, also after this album, Dan Spitz, who was a long-time guitar player, left to become a watchmaker.
A watchmaker?
Yeah. Being in a band who signed a $10 million record deal, you're like, during the time when selling records was extremely profitable.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm going to go be a watchmaker.
That tells you, I think that takes cojones, but I respect people who do shit like that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, I could stay here and make millions of dollars and have women begging to have sex with me. I'm going to go home.
Yeah, but I'll die of alcohol poisoning or drug overdose.
Well.
Yeah. Right, you want to listen to Only?
Sure.
Here we go. Oh, no, how's it go?
It goes, only to be alone.
Cool.
There you go.
I think you're actually right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Same.
I think that John Bush's voice sounded lovely. It was really sort of like, it had wonderful natural distortion to it, and it just felt more confident and less mimicry as Joey Belladonna at times was. I just think the whole thing did feel quite a bit more grown up.
Oh, okay.
In general, I really liked it. I
I
thought
thought you were going to say grunge. You went grown up rather than grunge.
Well, I meant what I
Yeah,
said,
no.
grown up. Yeah, I think that it definitely doesn't have that. Silly's the wrong word. It doesn't feel as fun-loving as some of the other Anthrax tunes that I've heard. It feels more like...
It's not thrash.
No, I wouldn't have called that thrash.
Yeah, and the comments about, alternative rock.
Sure.
That, there was a chord progression in the chorus.
Well, that's what I was going to say as well.
An
Like
unpredictable, weaving melody that went through
Yeah.
some chord changes. I liked the chorus in that. Deathrider was my favourite, the first one from the
yeah,
first album.
Deathrider was my favourite.
Followed by Only.
Really?
Yeah, I thought Only was good.
Yeah, I think probably I'd do Deathrider, Bring the Noise, and Only. Yeah, I could probably leave quite a few of them.
Which is interesting because that's essentially 3 different bands, isn't it?
Well, you
In
know
terms
what?
of sound.
Sometimes you gotta wait for someone to die or get fired.
Yeah, that works.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we have to say about Anthrax. We're going to stop there. But obviously, their influence was really big on the thrash and the metal thing. What do you guys think about Anthrax, though? Let us know in that comment section below. Hit that subscribe button. Share the podcast around. Next week, we are going to be doing Megadeth.
Yes.
It's going to be really, really hard for me because I have to stick to my, it's not my job to make you love Megadeth.
Sure. I'm stick to my gun.
And I only play one track off on any given album.
Yeah.
And that's tricky because, you get to an album like Rust in Peace and it's like, well, we need to listen to every song on this album because they're all amazing.
You gotta be Balenciaga, bitch. You can't just...
Oh, no, we're going to see my bias next week.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, yeah, we'll be doing Megadeth next week.
Does that mean that at some point we can do Tom Waits?
No.
Would you guys like to see Tom Waits? Would you guys sit with me while I talk to you?
If you want to
about
do
Tom Waits?
if you want to do your own podcast called Does Shit Have Soul, then
Oh, come on now. Behave.
I will not.
Outrageous. Also, a couple of you have mentioned about listening to the podcast. I did actually look into having the podcast hosted on other sites because some of you are saying it's a bit annoying to try and get YouTube to work in the car because some of people have been listening to it in the car.
Yeah.
But I have looked into getting it on Spotify. But let us know in the comment section what you listen to podcasts on.
Yeah, I'm sure we can try and work something out.
Yeah.
And try and get it there.
Something straightforward.
Anyway, until next week.
Suck a bag of Richards.
Are you ready for love? No, I'm not. No, thanks.
You fucking antisocial dickhead.
What can I say?